Hi friends, welcome to my recap of JW Broadcasting for May 2024. It's basically the same as it was last month and the month before. It's all about fear. You'll see. I'm going to show you just glimpses of some things to get my point across. Of course, if you want to see the entire broadcasting, you could just go to their website. But before we get into this, I want to show you something that I had never noticed before. Check it out. Did you notice that? Their logo during the intro ends with it being positioned right over the nation of Israel. I find that very interesting. We know that the organization teaches replacement theology and the sense that they have replaced the Jews as God's chosen people. But Romans chapter 11 makes it absolutely very clear that God is not done with Israel. We're just in the church age right now, right? Israel has been put aside for a time, and during the tribulation, God will turn back to Israel so that they can accept the Messiah that they rejected the first time around. The theme of this month's broadcast, if it even has a theme, is basically Jehovah shepherds us through any challenge. They claim that Jehovah is the shepherd, and they're going to show you verses that they say proves this. But that's not the case at all. We're going to get into that later. Anyway, friends, take a look at this, just a glimpse.
Like a shepherd, he will care for his flock. Jehovah bears many titles in the Bible, but the designation shepherd is among the most tender. Like a shepherd, Jehovah says he will carry his lambs in his bosom, illustrating his tender love and care for each one of his precious sheep.
All right, so he reads from Isaiah 40, verse 11, to prove that their God is the shepherd caring for the sheep, okay? So here's the verse in red. Let's jump back to the prior verse to put it into context. So here it is, verse 10. I've color-coded it. The Lord God will come with a strong hand, and his arm shall rule for him. Behold, his reward is with him. So who's coming? Who's coming? Jesus is coming, all right? I want to show you Revelation 22. There it is in the center. Of course, it's speaking about Jesus in green. Behold, I come quickly in purple. Oh, look at that. And my reward is with me. And then when you go to Isaiah 63:5, down at the bottom in orange, it says, therefore my own arm brought salvation unto me. In Isaiah 63, the Lord God is looking and saying, I looked and there was no one to help because mankind was sinful, right? We're living in a fallen world. He says, I've looked and there was no one to help. Therefore, my own arm brought salvation unto me. And then when you read Acts 4:12, it says, salvation is in no other name given among men, the man Jesus Christ. So one more verse. If you recall, up at the top in blue, this was the theme verse. It says, he shall feed his flock like a shepherd. Follow the blue arrow. Jesus said, I am the door of the sheep. I am the good shepherd. Jesus is the only shepherd. He's the door. There's not two shepherds. You have to go through Jesus. Why? Because he gave his life for you. The good shepherd gives his life for the sheep. All right, let's keep going.
We know that many of you, dear brothers and sisters, are coping with very difficult challenges day after day in this cruel, wicked world. Are you feeling overwhelmed with trying to provide for your family's needs? Dealing with a serious health issue such as cancer? Exhausted because you're caring for your mate or a parent with dementia? Trying to cope with the death of a loved one? Battling feelings of loneliness, worthlessness, or anxiety? Or facing persecution? But Whatever valley of deep shadow he faced, David always relied on his shepherd.
Okay, so I just want to point something out. You guys know, those of you who've watched my videos before, you know that when I was a witness, I was fascinated by the pictures because I lived not very far from Brooklyn, Bethel, and I knew some of the artists who drew these pictures. And I think that's one reason why I would look at the pictures and I would think they just look so weird. Why are my friends not able to draw a proper face, right? So anyway, in telling you that, this picture of David, look at the shadow of the spear. The shadow has the spear going right through his head and coming out the other side. Now, listen, I'm not an artist, right? I can't draw and I can't sing, but I think I know how a shadow should fall in a picture, and it shouldn't fall that way. And I always say that the governing body members, the organization, they hate David as much as they hate Jesus. And they would have loved for Saul to have succeeded in pinning him to the wall. Anyway, just an observation. Let's keep going.
One sister said, JW Broadcasting has helped me to be more positive. When I get lonely or discouraged, I find an encouraging talk or a morning worship program to watch from Satan, who in the Bible is portrayed as a vicious lion and a cunning serpent. No doubt you're filled with heartfelt appreciation and are comforted knowing that Jehovah is always on the lookout to use his figurative rod and staff to warn and protect us, not to beat us. Elders, you are entrusted with a privileged but a heavy responsibility to protect Jehovah's precious sheep.
Is that what the elders do? They care for the sheep? You know, in thinking back when I was a witness, I remember one elder being kind, but for the most part, the elders that I knew, they were pretty harsh. Especially one, I don't want to say his name. They've all passed on. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
We take this opportunity to express our sincere appreciation for those of you who use your figurative rod and staff to protect the sheep, never making them feel beaten down. Satan will never succeed in wiping Jehovah's sheep from the earth. Most important, he protects us spiritually. You prepare a table for me before my enemies. How does Jehovah feed us? Through the faithful and discreet slave, Jehovah gives us timely publications as well as rich spiritual programs at our meetings, assemblies, conventions, JW Broadcasting, governing body updates, along with encouraging songs and videos, and so much more. Truly, the slave is giving us food at the proper time. What do you need to do? Show your appreciation for the food the slave provides by eating it, and never being fussy, picky, or selective in your eating habits.
That's got to be one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard. Now, why would a witness be fussy or selective in their eating habits, the eating of the spiritual food? Well, because it's ever-changing. Probably because the prophecies have not come true. Probably because they've been predicting Armageddon being right around the corner for 150 years. I know that my parents are close to 90 and they have been witnesses the majority of their lives, and they're still waiting. Probably that's why they might be a little fussy or selective.
Remember, the Bible and Bible-based publications are ways that Jehovah speaks to us.
Is that right? That's how Jehovah speaks to us? Well, isn't it something that Hebrews chapter 1, verses 1 and 2 tells us that in these last days, God has spoken to us by his Son, not by Bible-based publications and not by 9 men in New York.
To correct any faulty thinking that could lead us to dark feelings of anxiety, loneliness, worthlessness, anger, or resentment. Continue attending our upbuilding meetings, assemblies, and conventions where we receive spiritual nourishment and protection.
Why is it that the witnesses need to constantly be reminded to delve into this literature, to continue going back to the literature? Because there's no protection in the literature whatsoever. These men are false prophets, and they're leading their followers astray. These wolves in sheep's clothing are telling them to go back to the source of their depression, the source of why they're feeling worthless, the source of their fear. And it's a vicious cycle because they're not going to find protection there. They're not going to find comfort there.
Depressive thoughts are not trustworthy. They are the product of a treacherous heart that distorts our thinking abilities.
Depressive thoughts are the result of a treacherous heart. I find that incredible because the publishers are once again being blamed for something that originated with this organization. They get battered by these publications. Just look at this broadcasting itself. It's all about fear. You're going to see it. They're going to show videos. You're going to hear bombs exploding. You're going to see weapons and actual guns firing. This is the source of their depression. This is the source of their mental illness. And yet they keep having to go back to it, and it's getting worse, and it's getting worse. All right, so he moves on to Garrett Loesch, who shows this painting of it has been in the governing body conference room for many, many years. I'm just going to show you just a little clip, but notice what he says.
We sometimes look at the picture and we try to apply what is implied in the painting to our work with the congregations.
So the governing body members, they look at the painting and they try to apply what is implied in the painting towards the congregations. I find this a very, very interesting thing to say because when you look at this painting, I don't see anything comforting whatsoever. It's dark and stormy. I don't see the sheep are being comforted or rescued. Very, very strange. Prepare yourself, because here we go. We're going to see some reenactments, and guess what they're about?
Those words felt new when the fighting started again.
So why is all of this necessary, right? The sirens, the explosion, or whatever that was, the fear, the look of fear in their eyes. Think about the children in the audience.
While we waited for the trains to start running again.
So they're waiting for trains to start running again. What does this remind you of?
This is my brother Pablo. He protects this whole area. I'm surprised you're still here.
You too.
Why? I stayed to help the fight. Where else would I be?
Everybody has to do their part to support the war.
She's a Jehovah. They don't care about the country.
This clip is all about fighting. They've said the word fight several times. I might have cut the majority of them out, but war and fighting and fear and trains and explosions and gunfire, this is horrific. Why is all of this necessary? It doesn't build up the flock. It doesn't provide comfort. It gives them no hope. It just compounds their fear.
Oh, the cowards. Your people should be shot.
Hey!
I don't know that I would have survived if I would have stayed a Jehovah's Witness. I was so afraid back in the 1980s when I got out. I can't imagine it now.
Fear is natural.
Today is the day we'll try to leave.
Have your tickets and ID ready.
But I know you're good people. So Union family, get on the train.
Inscribe his thoughts on your heart now, before the trial, and you'll have nothing to fear.
I was born in the northern of Germany. I didn't have a very good relationship to my father because he drank a lot and very often he was mean to me. On the other hand, my mother, really, she was kind, lovely, and I can tell you, I loved my mother from the bottom of my heart. One day, the doctors, they diagnosed it that she has cancer, and only a few days later, she died and she was gone. And this was for me horrible, I tell you. I feel completely empty, no hope, angry. I couldn't understand, really, I couldn't get it. How a God can be so painful to others and take the best what I had in my life, just take it away.
Masterfully done. The guy's mother dies. The music intensifies. Such a play on the emotions.
I hate everything around me. I will never trust anyone. And especially, I lost also the trust completely in God. It starts with the basic training. So the idea is we have to follow orders, doesn't matter what happens. So special training was also hand-to-hand combat. You feel very strong. I remember some situation we were outside in the woods, and this was part of the survival training. I felt indestructible and I was very proud of myself.
I think an outsider looking in on this JW broadcast would say that the Jehovah's Witnesses are a very violent group. They're told all about love, right? They're told that they need to be morally clean. But when you look at these videos month after month after month, it's about violence. Now, here's my question once again, right? Of course, this is not a picture. This is looking at a video. But what is this creature next to this guy? Is it a wild boar with horns? How bizarre. So anyway, he goes on and on explaining how if he continued in the German Air Force, that he could potentially be responsible for killing thousands of people. He becomes a Jehovah's Witness, he risks going to prison, and in the end, you meet his new wife, and he states that they had been serving Jehovah 50 years together as husband and wife. So much for Armageddon being just around the corner, huh?
When I first started having some health problems, my biggest concern was my goals.
So this regular pioneer starts having health problems. And what's her biggest concern? Her goals.
I had to find a part-time job that is agreeable to my pioneering schedule and to my energy levels.
I was offered after high school the opportunity to attend a prestigious university for no cost.
So he gets a scholarship for a 4-year degree at the university. He rejects it. And then later on, in order to pay for food and clothing, he goes to like a vo-tech school.
I decided to find a part-time job that provided the means necessary to pay for things like food and clothing. But really, it was going to provide me with an opportunity to focus on that service to Jehovah. The job I'd originally taken was not providing what I needed anymore. A change was necessary. So another opportunity came up to pursue higher education. While I was considering my options, a friend recommended a job that required a little bit of vocational training.
Just going in service, we always come home smiling.
When this Watchtower came out, I said, everything is true. And Jehovah's my shepherd, I'll lack nothing. It's all true.
Everything is true. Jehovah is my shepherd. I'll lack nothing. Isaiah 40:11. Who's the shepherd? Shepherd is Jesus. All right, so Stephen Lett is up next. Here's a glimpse.
To illustrate the human hand's superiority, imagine an ape whose hand you see here trying to take a pen and precisely sign his name.
All right, so he takes this analogy and moves on to how Jehovah's hand is far superior and can even move government officials to benefit Jehovah's people. I wonder if this has anything to do with the countries now that are turning their backs on the witnesses and taking their funding away. Now listen, here's the thing. They're not saying they cannot practice their religion in their country for the most part. They're not saying that. They're just saying, listen, because of your shunning practices, because of your no blood policy, these practices and policies are a violation of human rights. That goes against our charter, it goes against our laws, and therefore we're not going to give you the millions that we're giving you every year. I wonder if this has anything to do with that.
We can also pray for Jehovah to move the hearts of officials to treat our imprisoned brothers kindly. Keep in mind those in prison as though you were imprisoned with them. Now, isn't that interesting? Keep in mind those in prison as though you were imprisoned with them, no matter how hopeless, how desperate it might seem. To rescue us in time of test, trial, temptation, being willing to give unstintingly of our time, energy, resources. And think about this. If we are close-fisted with others, not only are we not imitating our generous God as beloved children, but Jehovah can't put anything in our hand in the near future. During the Great Tribulation, Jehovah will use his hand to maneuver many of the wicked to actually use their physical hands to slaughter each other. And then he will use his hand to wield the forces of nature to sweep out of existence the rest of the wicked, along with this entire wicked system.
So how's that for an inspiring talk, death and slaughter? So the last segment of this is a music video. It's all the same. People waking up in paradise, cleaning up the earth. The Bible makes it very clear that there will be a new heavens and a new earth. The Bible also makes it absolutely very clear that we will be raised with incorruptible bodies. We will not have to attain to perfection as is taught by these false prophets. So basically what you have here is this woman has cancer. Obviously she doesn't make it. She wakes up in the new system. She builds a boat. Her friends walk down to the shore in their long pants. The sisters are wearing pants there. They have to have a hook to keep these people in. So after you have this horrifying JW broadcasting video, which is all about death and dying and slaughter and war and soldiers and bombs and trains, persecution, it ends with this. This is the hook, right?
I open my eyes to the bluest skies that I've ever seen before. There's nothing to fear, and everyone is here. Come on now, let's go explore. Let's climb the highest mountain top and take it all in. Every single gift we have, Jehovah's given, but for now sound in my mind soon will come. The day that we've been waiting for all our lives, when we will raise our heads and lift our voices when this old world's behind. We will raise our heads and lift our voices when this old world's behind. When Jehovah opens up his hands, imagine what we'll find. In the real life, we will find the real life. We will find the real life. We will find the real life. We will find the real life.
It ends with this. This is the hook, right? We have to remain faithful. Even though we're scared, let's stay closer to Jehovah. My anxiety level is just through the roof. And this is my hope, right? I just want this all to end. So I'm going to remain faithful so I can wake up in this new world. But this new world is a fantasy. Hebrews 9:26 and 27 says that, for it is appointed unto man once to die, and then the judgment. Just as Christ died once, so is it appointed unto man once to die. There's no being resurrected for a second chance, friends. We're going to have a new heavens and a new earth. This video shows them tending to gardens and raking and cleaning up the earth. This is not the case at all. It's a lie. This JW broadcasting is another waste of time. And we have to continue to pray for these people who are caught in their clutches. My family members, for one. Anyway, friends, that's it. That is my recap of JW broadcasting for May 2024. Turn to Jesus because he's the one who died for you. He took on your sin in his body so that you could live, friends. Cry out to him. He'll save you. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.